Hello, THB family. This is Dallas here, your media pastor here at The Healing Place, and I am excited to introduce you guys to a special 6-part series where we're talking about 52. 52 days to see God change your life, maybe the world. If you're curious more about it, hang out with us for the next 6 videos. I'm going to be putting these out every day this week. And if you're watching this on replay later, maybe you're jumping in halfway through us doing 52, hey, it's okay. Start from the beginning and walk it out. See what God can do in your life. If you don't have a guide, you can download it at www.thbshreveport.com. There's a link on the front. Now, if you're watching this way in the future and we've already taken off the website, reach out to us, mediahub@thbshreveport.com, or call us 318-688-3940, and we'll be happy to send you our 52 guide via email. That being said, today's video, which is part 1 of our 6-part series, Pastor Scott and I are going to sit down and talk about what 52 is all about. So, Pastor, where did the idea for 52 come from?
Well, we were really praying, just this whole COVID. And listen, guys, like we talked about last week, we talked about what do you do in uncertain times? Mm-hmm. Well, you lean into what you know. And so with all the uncertainty and with all the schedules changing and church and businesses and school and all that, we were just like, okay, God, like what, not only what are you saying, but like what are you doing and what do we need to do in the midst of all that? And I don't remember if it was day, night, or whatever, but I just had this vision of Nehemiah because I was so frustrated because I felt like I was being pulled to have all these conversations, which we did, had a lot of conversations during a lot of unrest and different things. Right. But after a while, I was like, man, I'm having all these conversations, but yet friends of mine are just doing it. Like they're just doing it. They're not having a lot of conversations about what to do. Like they're just doing it. And that's what I want to do. Right. And so I just kind of had this vision of Nehemiah, the biblical Nehemiah, up on his wall, man. He's just up on the wall and he's doing the work, and he's got all these people who are like, hey, come down off the wall and talk to us. And they're throwing accusations at him. And basically he just comes back and he says, look, I don't have time to come down there. Right. I'm doing a work for God. This is what God said, and this is what I'm going to do. And God's going to do a miracle. And so I was like, okay, well, what does that mean? I didn't get an answer. So I just kind of tucked it away, and we talked about it as a team. I shared it with you guys. And as I shared it with everybody, it wasn't like everybody was like, oh, it means this or it means this. It was like crickets. And so it was like, okay, well, let me just slide this to the side. And then it was like a couple other things went into place, and just a couple other pieces. And I was like, okay, well, this is for something. And then I started hearing a couple of my friends talk about Nehemiah. And I was like, okay. And then they started talking about some of the specific things that I had seen. And I was like, whoa, wait a second. Okay, there's got to be something to this. So that was kind of the genesis of it. And then I got into Nehemiah and I started to read like what's going on with Nehemiah, what's happening with Nehemiah. And we saw that Nehemiah, he was broken. He saw that his city was just in ruin, and he was broken, and he wept. And the first thing he did, it wasn't blame everybody that the city was broken. Basically, he looked internally and said, my sin, what I've done, what my father has done, what my fathers have done. He began to repent. He began to confess. He began to lean into God. And then he went to the king and asked for permission. And so for me, what I felt like, it was like I needed to get broken for my own things that I had done and not done for the spiritual condition of my city, my nation, and just get along with God with that instead of looking at everybody else and blaming everybody else. And then going to Jesus, our king, and just going, hey, do I have permission to kind of make this move? And I felt like the Lord said, yeah, it's time. Awesome. So that's kind of how this all, and listen, I just encourage you guys, man, when God speaks to you, it may not make sense at the beginning, but if there's crickets, just slide it to the side, but don't put it in the recycle bin. You know, keep it somewhere, tuck it away, and just don't put it in the forefront of your mind, but make sure it's there somewhere. Because God is going to bring that forth in some way. Yeah, I really feel like there's some of you guys that are watching right now, you have notebooks at your house that are in a closet somewhere, where maybe you were in youth group and you wrote some stuff, you're like, God's giving me this and this is awesome, and you've forgotten those things. Yeah. And I think this New 52 is, this is the time for you to pull those out. As we go through what we're talking about today, maybe you need to go to those closets and pull out those notebooks, because God's got some stuff for you that need to be rebuilt that you've just forgotten about. And through it all, I just kept hearing this number 52. And then the realization was that they end up rebuilding the gates of the city in 52 days. Like something that would have took years, 52 days, not because of Nehemiah and the people, but because God moved supernaturally and the people had a mind to work, like put their hands to what God was saying.
Right.
And so that was kind of where 52 came from.
Awesome. So for 2, Nehemiah, we're rebuilding walls. And in the physical, though, like when we go through this process together, and we're doing this together, all right? We're not saying, hey, do this on your own. We're doing this as a family.
Yep.
Things get personal. What are you personally looking for God to do in your life as you go through this stuff? You know, you're talking about being broken, but is there a burden specifically that you see maybe in your life or the city that you're like, I need God to move here?
Yeah, I think that for me personally, it was kind of layered. It was, okay, this is what God is saying to like the church, but it was also what God was saying to some friends of mine. One particular friend of mine in North Carolina, he took his church through 52 days. They were doing a little bit different, but it was like God was saying the same thing to him. And for me, it was like, okay, like this is a bigger thing than just me. This is something that God is speaking to many different people. So there's got to be something in it, not just for an individual,
Right.
and not just for a specific part of the country,
Right.
but this is something that God is saying maybe globally. And I felt like for me personally, it wasn't about, okay, I've got to rebuild my household or,
Right.
you know, I've got to rebuild my neighborhood or my street. It was more of, do I really believe what God says? And I think for me personally, this is where it went. Do I really believe when I read this book, do I just see it as distant from me? Okay, that was just for Nehemiah. Like I can't take anything for myself.
Right.
Which is a little odd that people believe that.
Yeah.
Like people who actually say they're theologians.
Right.
Believe that you can't
Can apply this to their lives.
Yeah, it's like, well, if you can't apply it, it's not the word of God.
Right.
Like the word is applicable to us.
Yeah.
And if God would do this for Nehemiah,
Right.
he's no respecter of persons.
Exactly.
So won't he do it for us? Now, what that looks like may be different, but really the lesson I got from it was Nehemiah was broken. God gave him a word. He took the next step, which was going to the king.
Right.
Then he took the next step, which was going that direction.
Right.
And he just continued to take next steps. And then as he did, God did what only God could do.
Right.
And so for me, I think it was like, Scott, do you really believe that I could do something in 52 days that would normally take years to do? And I had to come to the place where it was like, yes, maybe, you know?
Yeah.
And I had to kind of wrestle with that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we live in a culture where everything's been provided for us.
It's a true story.
And so it's like, put it in a microwave, do this, do this. There's so many things that we have at our fingertips, which we know in even Louisiana in the last couple of weeks. Those things aren't at our fingertips anymore.
Yeah.
You know, there are trees and houses and there's no power and there's this and this.
Right.
And it's like, okay, what am I going to lean into?
Right.
I got to lean into God. And can God do what he said he would do?
Right.
And that's kind of where it got to me was, do I really believe that God would do this? Well, what is this?
Right.
I don't know.
You're just kind of a point. You just want to see God move.
Yeah.
You just want to see him like do a make movement in people's lives, and people catch that vision. So what I feel like is you're trying to say here.
Yeah, and to believe God for what he said he would do. Like really believe him for that.
Right.
And take a step even when people are going, you're crazy, it can't be done, there's no way, why are you doing this? It's not going to make a difference.
Right.
All those voices are going on right now. But do I believe that I can just take that next step,
Right.
and God will be faithful in that next step, and God will be faithful in that next step. And by the time I'm at day 52, I can look at it and go, whoa, like God did this.
Right.
Like I did some stuff in the middle of all of it.
Right.
What he told me to do.
Right.
But God did this.
Right.
And that way when people see it, it's not, oh, Nehemiah did this, or Scott did this, or Dallas did this.
Right.
It is, God did that.
Right.
There's no way they could do that.
Absolutely.
God did that.
Absolutely.
And then the attention goes to him.
Word.
So for me, I think it's more of, do I really trust that God can do in 52 days what would
Right.
take years? And if I do trust that he'll do that, then all the attention will go to him.
Absolutely. And for you guys at home, what do you guys believe in God can do in the next 52 days? We want to hear from you. Leave in the chat, what do you believe God can do? What have you maybe given up on? That you're like, I need God to move in this situation. Let us know, because we want to pray with you along these lines for the next 52 days. Thank you so much, guys, for watching part 1 of this 6-part series. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, again, reach out to us at mediahub@thbshreveport.com, or you can call us 318-688-3940. And of course, you can follow us on all of our social media at THB Shreveport on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Until tomorrow, you guys have a great day. And again, if you're watching this on replay, there will be a link in the corner on YouTube, and also a playlist on YouTube for you guys to watch all these videos as they came out. Have a great day.